All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Super excited to chat today about our topic, which is running Agile at scale with Poly. Before we jump in, we're going to do just a quick round of intros on our end, and then we can jump right in. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm on the sales side of the house here at Poly, and I'm joined today by Barbara. I'll let her quickly introduce herself.
Hey, Barbara Nicholas, Head of Operations here at Poly. Happy to chat all things Poly anytime.
Awesome. And Bilal.
Hey folks, I'm Bilal. I'm co-founder and CEO here at Poly. Been a software engineer my entire career and helped build both Poly and a bunch of other products, and happy to share some of those learnings with everybody here.
Yep. Awesome. Bilal and I will be presenting today. Barbara will be in the background. So feel free to use either the Q&A feature or the chat, and Barbara will be happy to jump in and respond as we're presenting. We're also going to have time at the end for more robust Q&A. A quick agenda for today. We're going to talk quickly about what modernizing your Agile practices actually looks like, the benefits of doing so, using Poly for daily standups. We're going to take a look at what it looks like to analyze the results that you collect from those daily stand-up polys, how to leverage workflows to automate certain key rituals. And then finally, as I mentioned, we're going to have some time for Q&A at the end. So let's talk quickly about the benefits of modernizing your Agile practices. When you leverage tools to enhance how these Agile rituals take place, you end up ensuring that people feel included, whether they're in the office or they work from home, and they can answer and respond to surveys in a more flexible manner, right? And what this does is it ensures everyone is plugged in to their work, right? And ultimately, when people are plugged in, when they're allowed to respond to asynchronous polys in a way that works best for them, they're more productive. When you leverage Poly for things like daily stand-ups, it actually improves communication because you'll have a written record of all those interactions, and there's just transparency across the board. When you can automate workflows, again, we can improve productivity because it means less manual work for everyone, and ultimately, less manual work leads to less time wasted, more productivity, and happier employees. And who doesn't want that? Now, what does this look like tactically or in practice? With Poly, we actually have certain templates that correspond to each of these key rituals. So whether it's pre-sprint planning, those daily stand-ups, mid-sprint review, or sprint retrospectives, we have the ability to quickly and easily spin these up and send them to the proper individuals so that you can gather responses quickly and easily and maximize the time that you do spend in meetings in a much more focused way. Because you're not going into the meeting asking, hey, what are your answers to these X number of questions? You're going in knowing exactly what needs to be discussed when you send these polys ahead of time. So that kind of begs the question, why Poly, right? So Poly was the very first application to launch on the Slack App Store. Slack is an investor in Poly. It's no secret. Software engineers and developers love leveraging Slack. There's not really a much more agile tool out there for communication. And when it comes to a partnership, it doesn't really get much stronger than what Poly has with Slack. As a result, you have better collaboration, your meetings are more focused, and the business outcomes that those things drive, it can't be understated. When you meet people where work happens, instead of forcing them out of the tools where work happens, you can increase response rates. Employees feel heard, they feel engaged, and ultimately your organization can be more profitable. Now, don't take my word for it. There have been 450,000 organizations that have used Poly in some way, shape, or form since our inception. And the logos that you see on the screen here are just a few of them. All right, so without further ado, we're going to jump right in to the Poly application. Now, some of you may be used to using Poly directly in Slack. Some of you may be used to using Poly in the web application. we're going to start in the web app today. And we're specifically going to start in our template library. And so you can see we've got a number of different categories that we can pull from that that kind of relate to different parts and pieces of the organization. So whether it's HR or IT and procurement, learning and development, you name it, we've got a template category for it. Now you'll notice in our Agile product development category, we've got a number of different templates that align directly with these key rituals. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a daily stand-up template from scratch right now. You can see we've got these questions out of the box. If there are additional questions that you ask, or the way that you all ask them, is potentially worded differently, it's not a problem. You have the ability to edit these to your heart's content. We also have different question types here too. So if you are trying to, potentially gauge a team member's interest in a certain project, or try and figure out who is going to, be the best fit for a certain project coming up in your next sprint, you can have them, rank order the projects that are coming up in terms of their interest, for example. So these surveys are extremely flexible in the way that they're handled. Next, we can select our audience responses and audience results visibility. Now, by default, these daily stand-up templates are a bit unique. We actually show the results in the thread in real time in Slack. And we'll take a look at what this looks like in just a moment. But again, what we're trying to do is enhance collaboration so that everyone's plugged in and you're not having to spend additional wasted time on meetings that aren't relevant to individuals. I'm going to give a really concrete example of this in just a moment. Next, we can schedule this ahead of time or send it right now. And we can, in this case, we want to create a recurring poly sent on a daily basis. Okay. But again, all of these are highly flexible fields that you can edit to your heart's content. Next, we can select our audience. So in this case, let's just say I am the manager of an engineering team focused on the front end. I actually have an Eng front end channel in Slack, which I'm going to select here. I'm going to leave the poly title as it is, but I can edit any of these fields. And from here, we're going to go ahead and hit send poly. And we're going to head over to Slack. So now in the Eng front end channel, you can see I've got a new notification here. It's our daily stand-up poly that we just created. I'm going to go ahead and start this and provide my responses. So let's just say I finished adding animations to the menu. What am I working on next? I'm working on adding UTM tags to external links. And then from here, the traditional, these are, again, just our traditional stand-up questions. I'm just going to say, for the sake of this example, I'm blocked. What am I blocked on? I need access to Claude to help me code. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And so again, because we selected that, and by default, our daily stand-up templates select to thread our responses, now everyone, again, has a high level of visibility, and you have transparency across the whole organization about what everyone's working on so that you won't get duplicative work. And now as a manager, I can go in and say, oh, okay, there's a really easy fix to this. We actually don't even need to have a meeting about this. I can just say, I've provisioned a license for you. Please use Google SSO to log in. You should be good. Done. So that's a full-on, daily stand-up interaction that can all happen asynchronously. Now, after the fact, you might want to do some analysis on the information that you collect, especially at a macro level over time. So what we can do is, if we head back to the web application, I can go to the My Polys section of the web app. and I can take a look at the responses that have come through here. I can also connect this to a Google Sheet, and which is really easy to do. It essentially just takes 2 clicks. And when you do this, I've actually got a previous template that I've sent out and connected to Google Sheet already, and you can see these responses compiled here. Now, additionally, one thing you might want to do is add demographic attributes to your results as well. And what this might tell you is, hey, it turns out that there's one particular team that's getting blocked on certain things more often than others, and that will, create certain actions for you that help streamline processes for the whole org top to bottom. But ultimately, yeah, being able to quickly and easily export the information to a Google Sheet, our customers love that. And it just allows for another level of flexibility.
I'll add it's just super useful for scaling Agile out beyond a single team because it gives you visibility across the org on what folks are working on and what the day-to-day is of what's happening on your teams without any extra reporting overhead or burden. So the fact that you can just really easily take the data from a Poly, put it into a Google Sheet, share that out with executive management, so on and so forth. It also makes it really easy when it comes for review time, for example, for everybody to look back on what they accomplished and make that conversation super crisp on what progress was made over that period of time.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll just pause for questions real quick, and then I think, Brian, it's my turn.
Yep, totally. Totally.
Cool. And you're also welcome to ask questions at any point along the way. All right. With that, let's just move into the next type of sprint ritual that you can run with Poly. So I'm landing here in what's probably pretty familiar to those of you who are day in, day out running an Agile process, a Jira board. And here I'm looking at a backlog of issues, and I need to go ahead and size these issues out. And if my team is remote or asynchronous, I don't want to put in a planning meeting that requires me to put all those points in place. Instead, I can just put up a template from Poly, and I've already got a pre-built template that has questions that are mapped to each one of the sprint issues in my current sprint. And I can go ahead and just say a 135 issue size, move on. And just like Brian did with the sprint retro, it's super easy to just send it out. And now my widget team channel is going to have that Poly right here. And I can really quickly and easily estimate out, okay, all right, this maps to issue 1. That's a 1-pointer. This one is a 3-pointer. Put it in, and I can go ahead and view results. Now, the cool thing is, with the different configurations in Poly, if you've got, folks that are rat holing, so for example, you might have a senior engineer who, whatever they say, everybody else follows. You can actually make the Poly so that the results are not visible to everybody until the end. And so everybody independently forms their own opinions, and then you can obviously just take the results and showcase them to the team onto hey, what we actually believe the size is. And as Brian mentioned, you can connect this to a Google Sheet. You can share this out. You can have this be part of a document. So I can create a web voting URL, drop this into a Confluence document or whatever other wiki system that your team might be using. And it's a really great way to take another meeting off the books and give your team time back to do the work that matters the most. All right, well, we've talked about estimation. We've talked about executing the work daily, day in and day out during the sprint. But one of the most important things in a sprint is the ability to look back on the work that you did and understand how you could do it better, what kind of challenges were presented, and so on. And so I'm going to go ahead and showcase another Poly capability here, which is our workflow automation capability. And what that enables you to do is tie into key events in external systems. In this case, I've got an automation set up on this Jira board, where as soon as I complete the sprint, I'm going to go ahead and put these issues back in the backlog, the ones that are not completed. So actually, let me open up the sprint real quick. So let's go to the board. Let's mark these issues done. And this one was in progress. We didn't finish it. I'm going to complete the sprint, and we'll move those issues to the backlog that were not completed. And you'll notice that I just got a little ding in Slack. Oops. And oh, it didn't actually run. Let me just run it real quick just to show you what that looks like. And apologies, live demos. We'll just validate it quickly with the Jira. Here we go. So here's our sprint retro poly. And I'll say I was able to get issue 1 closed out faster than expected. And then issue 2 was a mess and we did not estimate it well. Better estimation across the team. Boom. And again, you can take those issues, scale them out team to team, and be able to see exactly where the execution hurdles are for your team across the entire organization, and be able to share that visibility across your team. So super super easy to capture feedback from your team, super easy to create that record, and super easy to tie it into the systems that your team is working in, whether that's Slack, whether that's Jira. And I saw a question that folks are asking about Teams. We have very similar capabilities on the Teams product as well. Today's webinar is really focused on Slack, but we're happy to show you the Teams webinar. Poly.ai/book a demo will get you a link to be able to talk to us and showcase that side of the product world as well. But as we all know, running a great Agile team is not just about how you execute on the work. It's also about how you find those moments to create bonds and connections between the team. And Poly has a great set of team building capabilities that I'm going to toss it back to Brian to showcase.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Bilal. Yeah, as Bilal said, moments of levity and the ability to have a little bit of fun without adding to the potential meeting fatigue that people are experiencing, we feel is a really important component of work more broadly. And luckily with Poly, we have a number of ways of creating these moments of fun and team bonding within the organization. The way to do that quickly and easily asynchronously in Slack is by typing /poly, hitting enter. From here, we get a menu of options. I'm just going to click create a poly. And we've got this just have some fun category that's great for teams large and small in Slack. Employee awards are kind of like your yearbook awards, and some potential awards might be uses the best emojis and things like that. And so those are super fun. Hot takes are a great way to get people engaged with just a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. And when you do this, you actually allow larger groups to participate, since the response or the ability to respond is much easier than an open-ended question. One of our newest capabilities is the ability to generate a hot take through AI. So the Olympics just happened. Let's just use the Olympics as our prompt here. And you can see we get 3 different options that we can choose from. And then once we use these, we have the ability to edit them if we want. Once we pick the channel, it gets sent here. You can do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. If you want to do something a little bit more engaging, you can create a team trivia game. And so from here, we're going to select our audience. I'm going to select 5 questions, this just for the sake of speed of the game. You can actually select your own game speed if you want. If you want to give people a little bit more time to respond to questions, you can give everyone 90 seconds. We're just going to play this one super fast. And we have 85 different categories that you can select from, all different types of categories. Let's go Pokemon just for fun. And if you want, you can preview the questions ahead of time before sending to the audience. Once you have done this and you start the game, the only notification that people are going to get is this first one, letting everyone know, hey, we're going to be playing a trivia game. And the reason why this is important is because let's say you want to play this play this game over lunch, but someone is right in the flow of their work or in the middle of a meeting, it won't interrupt their workflow. And the people who do have availability, they'll be able to jump in and play the game, and they'll be the only ones who receive notifications, because we actually play these trivia games in a thread. And I know nothing about the newest generation of Pokemon, so so I have absolutely no idea. But from here, as I mentioned, the game's going to be played in a thread. So as you respond, it'll let you know, did you answer correctly? Yes or no? And I'm going to let the rest of this game play out while we switch over to our Google Meet integration. Now, it's worth noting we have an application that's optimized for meetings in Google Meet, in Zoom, and in Microsoft Teams. And the functionality you're going to see in just a moment in Google Meet is available across all those meeting platforms. So actually, this is kind of going to tie into the original icebreaker that we saw at the beginning. We actually generated that icebreaker with our icebreakers functionality. So in Google Meet, if you go to the activities section, select Poly, and Poly is a featured application on Google Meet, then you can quickly and easily create fun, team bonding experiences using icebreakers, hot takes, or just a quick poll. Polls, you can create your own question. Hot takes, same rules apply as in Slack, thumbs up, thumbs down. Icebreakers, these are those more open-ended questions. And so the reason why these are fun is because instead of talking about, the weather at the start of your weekly meetings, you're talking about something that, helps you get to know your coworkers a little bit. And so we actually do these every single week with our go-to-market team. And man, we get to know each other super well. So these are a great way to engage in those synchronous meetings, with icebreakers. And now our trivia game is over here in Slack. And you can see, again, we try and keep it light a little bit. We give you a little medal to show you what place you got, and a little GIF to represent how you should be feeling about your victory, or maybe not so much of a victory. And yeah, that's how you can create better senses of team bonding across your team outside of the more serious use cases that Poly can obviously also fulfill. Okay, well, I think that brings us to our Q&A section. So if anyone would like to submit any additional questions, feel free. I think last but not least, I'm gonna hand it over to Bilal. I think he's got some closing remarks here, and then yeah, go ahead, Bilal.
Awesome. Well, hey, really appreciate everybody joining us here. We're going to try and give you some time back on the calendar. If there aren't any questions, feel free to ask questions while I'm talking, and we'll get to them as well. What I'm saying is probably less important than the question that you have. But very, in summary, I mean, I think the key thing to understand and take away from Poly is that Poly helps drive both the execution and project management side of your Agile development practices. As well as we all know, being a manager or Scrum Master is about the softer side and how you interact with your team and make sure that that team stays bonded together and has some fun together and can ultimately build a resilient execution engine for your company. And Poly really helps on both sides of that, and is a very unique tool in this ecosystem because it works across wherever your tool stack is. So whether you're using Jira or Linear, Slack or Teams, Google Meet or Zoom, it really doesn't matter. Poly is there to be your companion to make sure that you're running the most efficient and effective Agile process together. And you can show that to not just the team that you're working with, but to your management and leadership as well. Excellent. Thanks all. Really appreciate you spending the time with us. Feel free to send us questions. Contact@poly.ai by email. Poly.ai is our website, and the web app you can always log into as app.poly.ai. You know, if you learn something, please do share it with other members of your team.